Hello, everyone. I am the White Angel, and I am a conservative. Very scary in today's America. Now, I wanted to talk to you today about what I think should happen, which is a conservative shakeup, or rather, Republican shakeup. That is to say, there's certain people we need to drop and just not associate with any longer because it's bad for our optics, and these people are, well, they're knucking futs. And some of the people I'm going to talk to you about today really are knucking futs. They belong in a freaking straitjacket. These certain individuals scare me in particular, but the people we need to drop is the Republican niche voter base, which is the evangelical right wing. Now, the leftists have been talking about the evangelical right wing for a long time, and you automatically going to assume, oh, well, it's leftist. Like, no, dude, they got this one right. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Eventually, it will, in fact, be 12 p.m. Eventually. Suffice to say, the leftists have been talking about individuals like Kenneth Copeland and Kat Kerr. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenneth Copeland... No words can describe how profoundly uncomfortable just looking at the man can make me. Kenneth Copeland is a prosperity gospel preacher. Now, keep in mind, I am not a Christian, but I have most of the members of my family are Christians. And I'm familiar enough with their beliefs and theology to know that prosperity gospel is like some weird, sort of like culty spin-off. You know, there was this bit a while back where I'm pretty sure Kenneth Copeland was literally doing an authoritarian control exercise live on television. If you're familiar with the Bite model or anti-cult work, that should have terrified you. When he was talking about Joe Biden winning the election, he was like, and Joe Biden's president? Ha, 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 ha. He was using fake laughter, because what happens in the brain is when you use fake laughter, you will eventually cause yourself to laugh for real. That can be used for authoritarian control, to forcibly change someone else's attitude towards someone. It's very highly manipulative. Don't be fooled. Kenneth Copeland is intelligent enough to use that kind of methodology. He's not an idiot. The thing is, in a lot of these Christian spin-offs like Jehovah's Witnesses that are cults, they justify it by saying, oh, the new personality we're programming you with is the Holy Spirit. It is the will of God. It is the godly personality coming into your being. And so that's how they justify it. So Kenneth Copeland would have no qualms about programming people, because he thinks that's what Jesus would want. But more than anything, he's just a greedy bastard who loves money. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge capitalist. I love capitalism. And trust me, greed exists in all systems. There's no system that you can live under that will magically cause greed to go away. That is complete myth. Kenneth Copeland is a manipulative mind control freak who loves money. Why the hell are we associated with him in any way? Or, for that matter, Kat Kerr. Now, Kat Kerr is another one of these evangelical right-wing types who, the danger with Kat Kerr... Sorry about that. The danger of Kat Kerr is that she promotes a kind of, pseudo-occultish, manipulated form of Christian theocracy, wherein which she sort of talks about vibrational levels of vibrational energy, which is actually an occult belief, an occult thing. And she was saying that Donald Trump had the same vibrational level as God and Jesus. Like, wow. You're trying to say that a man is basically a god. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. Suffice to say that Kat Kerr is this lady who thinks she's a prophet, and she's obviously nuts. She walks around with like a robe and a stick, thinks she's Lady Moses, and yet you want to be associated with someone like that? Like, seriously? The evangelical right wing is just full to the brim with crazies like this, and yet you want them to be your niche voter bloc? Dude, get a new niche voter bloc. You're ruining the image of conservatives and Republicans for everybody. Not only that, it's these people that encourage the institution of a position in office of a spiritual advisor, i.e., someone who's supposed to advise the president on spiritual issues, how they relate to politics. This is not a Christian nation. This was a secular nation founded by a handful of Christians and their atheist friends who didn't write any particular religious preference into the system. Thomas Paine, one of the founding fathers, was an atheist, and they didn't even allow him to get buried on American soil because he was an atheist. The government has been manipulating Christians for years, saying it's a Christian nation, vote for us. That's not even. It's a secular nation that was incidentally set up by a bunch of Christians who had atheist friends. You can hear my sister-in-law screaming in the background. Sorry about that. But when it comes right down to it, there should not be any spiritual advisor, because that violates the very spirit and the idea of separation of church and state. You are getting politics and religion involved with one another. And when in history has that ever been a good thing? Catholic Church much? The papacy? You ever want to talk about pedo priests? Yeah, you really don't want to get religion and politics involved. It is a terrible, terrible idea. Do not do it. Mm-mm. You don't want religion and politics combined. That's like putting alcohol and marijuana into your tea. You've got 3 levels of addiction there. You've got the caffeine in the tea, you have the marijuana, and you have the alcohol. So beer and marijuana in your tea. Like, you're going to be stuck on all 3 all at once. And it is going to drive you crazy. That is what religion and politics being married together looks like. It is a form of addiction. People are obsessed with politics and they're obsessed with religion. Obsession and addiction are very similar. Different, but similar. And when you get 2 together in one, that is a powerful recipe for chaos and insanity. You don't want it. So suffice to say, there should not be any spiritual advisors in this nation, and it's a good idea to just drop the evangelical right wing entirely and find a new niche voter base for conservatives and for the right. If necessary, we'll tear down the Republican Party and build a whole new conservative party. Maybe there should be a new conservative party. But the way things are done right now on the right is not a good idea. You know, I call this the Reformation. I consider myself to be a reformed conservative, which is a new kind of thing. Some of the accusations about conservatives are right. Some. We need to change the way we do things. We honor certain aspects of Western culture and Western tradition, American culture and American tradition, but not all aspects, only some. They cherry pick. We only use the ones that we like. We have to preserve and prefer all of it or none of it. We need to honor the separation of church and state. We need to honor pre-Christian traditions as well as post-Christian traditions equally. They are both equally Western and should be celebrated in all nations. We talk about the sacrifice of Jesus. Why not talk about the sacrifice of Socrates, who was literally put to death for telling the truth? That's a powerful lesson in Socrates and the relevance of Plato, who literally created the system of republicanism that we live under. That's why it's called the Republican Party. They favor the republic, which is a special form of democracy with an extra special set of rules that prevents mob rule and voter influencing. That is Plato's legacy. We are living in it right now. You want to talk about relevancy? He was a pre-Christian man. He didn't believe in Jesus. We need to honor those traditions as well. This is reformed conservatism that I'm trying to create here. This platform, which needs to reject any crazy wackadoos like Copeland or Kat Kerr or the evangelical right wing, which have been off the deep end for a long time now. Like, this is not recent. This has been since, I think, the 80s. Maybe even further back than the 80s. Like, insanity in the evangelical right wing is nothing new. We need to drop some folks to move forward with conservatism, and these are some of the folks we need to drop. Bye-bye, Kenneth Copeland. Have a nice future. Bye-bye, Kat Kerr. Have a nice future. We really should not be associating with you. It's bad for our optics, and it's bad for our health. Uh, anyway, welcome to the Reformation.